You're listening to Radio Mayapur with the best devotional, meditation, kirtan music, and inspirational podcast. This is Radio Mayapur.
All right. Good morning, everyone. On Radio Mayapur, link to your heart. This is Gangadhar, your host. Today we are in Auckland, New Zealand, the Kiwi land. And there's a lot of wind today. It rains. The weather is grey. Looks like London, but it's beautiful.
It looks like Mayapur.
Looks like Mayapur in the rainy season.
Yeah.
Okay, you're right.
Okay.
Correct. Today we are very, very fortunate to have with us Kalasamvara Prabhu, who is the temple president of Auckland. It's a beautiful temple. He was born on 26 September 1951 in Christchurch, New Zealand. He studied as a master tailor. Maybe he's the guy who makes the dress of the deity all over the world, the designer, I don't know. But met the devotee in 1973, joined in 1976, and in Christchurch. So, welcome, Kalasamvara Prabhu. I know you for a long time, and you were in Mayapur many times. I saw you there. You're a very attractive figure. I went with you in Harinam last year, here in many places in New Zealand, and you are very personal with people, very friendly. You're talking to them, you make them chant Hare Krishna. Very inspiring personality. So thank you for coming today and dedicate some of your time to Radio Mayapur podcast. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
It's a pleasure to be here, and it's a pleasure to be part of Mayapur podcast.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Mayapur, the center of the world.
Absolutely. So, Kalasamvara Prabhu, tell us a little bit about what was your life before you decided to become a spiritualist and inspiring personality.
Horrible.
Horrible or horrible? How was the life, horrible or horrible?
Well, as a devotee, you got to think it's pretty horrible not knowing about Krishna.
Of course.
Not knowing, what we know now, being in the illusion that I was in.
Natural.
So, I went to school really.
No, about your family as well, for example. You're the only son, fed with a golden spoon.
No, I had basically 7, 8, 2 sisters, and 5 brothers.
Wow, that's a big family for New Zealand.
Super good. No, that was common back then.
It was common, huh?
Yeah, it was
that
quite
was
common.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's nice, like Italian family.
Coming English background, grandparents and the forefathers and all that sort of stuff.
Nice.
And super nice families, everything as good as you can be. When it comes to family, we still get on now as a family.
But that's why you're such a nice guy, because I believe that scientists today, they say that the first 5 years of your life are very, very instrumental in how you develop your personality. And if you're born in a nice family, I am also born in a wonderful family, born in South Italy and Napoli, and all my family are all Napolitan pizza food, crazy, wonderful, and lots of love, a lot of friends, a lot of uncle and auntie around, and plenty of kids to play, brother, sister, cousin. So I think that's why you're such a nice person.
Thank you. It's nice that you're thinking I'm a nice person.
You are. You're actually.
I'm a nice person.
Anybody I ask, they say, "Oh, somebody is such a wonderful guy." So nobody. I do a check-in spot for all the temple presidents where I go. Nobody spoke bad about you.
Very nice. So super nice family, parents, very encouraging, no one discouraging, always supportive. Education, school, not the best. I really couldn't figure out what the hell I was doing there.
It's difficult when you're a kid,
Yeah. I think...
Try different things.
Yeah, just as I think maybe a year and a half at high school, and then my father decided, get me out of school, get me into something. So he had a friend and he arranged that I became a tailor.
Wonderful.
So it was a 4.5-year apprenticeship. So I learned all the things of pattern making and how to cut it out and how to design and.
But the most important is, did you like it?
I did like it.
Yeah, that's very important.
Yeah, I did like it because I could make all my own clothes.
Yeah, whatever reason.
But... Yeah, so if I was going out on Saturday night, I could start making a suit on Thursday and have it finished Saturday. And I designed all these far out clothes. Like
Amazing.
I would make bell bottom jeans,
Yes.
and I'd have the material, the right side on one side, and then I'd turn the material around and
What a
have the
difference.
outside material. So I used to have these flares. So I was always designing.
Means a lot of creativity.
I embroidered once because those, you got to remember, it's the hippie days.
Yeah, of course.
Mods and rockers.
Of course.
So of course I was a mod.
Of course.
With your paisley
we were
shirts,
all. We were all.
so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And so a lot of good dope, a lot of good
That's
marijuana,
also part of our growing life.
LSD,
Yes.
the whole thing.
That was part of our growing
So, and a lot of times,
experience.
so one day I embroidered a whole pair of jeans
Nice.
with like butterflies and all hippie stuff, you know.
That was beautiful. I remember.
You know, that those days were like Woodstock is
The
just there,
Beatles, and the
Beatles
rock and rolls and
Yeah.
Rolling Stones
Floyd
and the Pink
Stones,
Floyd
you know.
and Jefferson Airplane and James Joplin, Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
Tell me any name I don't remember.
Yeah, all these far out people.
Beautiful.
So,
Extraordinary people.
yeah, so did the apprenticeship and 4.5 years. And then after 4.5 years, I decided to give it a break
Okay.
because I couldn't see much purpose to that either. I was right into, with my friends, like mental speculating. Even though I didn't know what mental speculating was, we would spend hours and sometimes days. Yeah.
You were thinking about what's
Yeah.
going on. How,
But we never came to a conclusion.
Of course, you cannot.
So it was bloody
It's
frustrating.
impossible. It's impossible. You look at the star, you think, maybe there is some people up there.
Yeah.
And you look at the, what about incarnation? And what about this? What about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember once as a kid, I was on my bike driving down the road and I looked up and I was hippie-ish. I looked up in the sky and I said, you know, if there's a God, show me there's a God.
Please,
Let's
show
you know,
yourself to
Come
us.
on, mate. Let's
Come
go.
on.
You know, the Beatles are
I
here.
think,
they're
I
here.
think
Where are
that's
you? Where
why
you
not the
hiding?
main reason we become devotees. At one point in our life, we asked God,
Yeah.
if you're really there, show it yourself to me in some way. That maybe I surrender, maybe I want to serve you, maybe I want to love you, maybe I'll try to figure out something. What is this crazy stuff going on in my head and in the world?
Because we weren't, you know, there was nothing really to keep us inspired. We didn't want to be like our parents.
Naturally,
That was
no.
just common. Like even now it's common, isn't it?
Of course.
So nothing's new there. So moved out of home, started flatting.
Nice.
And I flatted with the lead singer of a famous band in New Zealand called Ticket.
Ticket.
Yeah, his name was Trevor Tomlinson, and now became initiated.
Nice.
Actually, the whole band became initiated.
Amazing.
He's Tota Gopinath. And then at that particular point, we got into health food. So we followed...
Become vegetarian?
Do you know how we became... No, we got into health food first.
Food first.
And we were following... You know how everyone drinks that Bragg sauce?
Okay.
There's Bragg, the father and the daughter made that Bragg. You see, most of the swamis have got it, they bring it out. It's health stuff. So he was could say my first guru.
Oh.
So we started following him.
Okay.
And that meant basically I got to the point where I stopped eating food. I was just drinking water.
Nice.
So anyhow, we got into this health food and we realized meat wasn't bad for you. So me and Trevor, we'd go to the steakhouse every Thursday, a tradition, payday steakhouse.
Right.
And then one day we were together, we walked up the steakhouse and we go, we're going to become vegetarian tonight.
That's it.
And we shook hands. He says, but for that, we're going to have our favorite steak.
The last
Last
supper.
Yeah. So he ordered the T-bone. I ordered the Hawaiian. Sounds disgusting now.
Yeah.
We had it. We shook hands again and says, we'll never eat meat again.
Wonderful.
So from that one, that relationship we had, I became vegetarian from that particular point in time.
That's good.
So Bragg was into this whole thing, cider vinegar and honey, and you got to fast, and so his goal was you fast for 40 days. You know how Christ started fasting for 40
a long
days,
time,
walked on water.
Yeah.
But how you did it, you prepared yourself. So first of all, you gave up eating solids,
It's a gradual process.
Yes, distilled water, this juice, that juice, and this juice. So then I was basically, then you do 1 day a week fast, 2 day a week fast, 3 day a week
it's
fast.
gradual, you do it.
So
Nice.
I got to the point where gave up eating, just drinking. 3rd day a week fast, and then someone invited me to the Hare Krishna temple.
Then you broke your fast because it was Sunday feast, love feast or something.
Yeah.
What do you call it at that time?
Now the person who invited me was a person who had given up his flat for the Hare Krishnas to have their first flat
Wow.
in Christchurch. I
Right.
didn't know all this. And he just says one day, he says, we're going to the Hare Krishnas, don't worry about cooking today. So I went to the Hare Krishnas, Hare Krishna love feast. There was no love according to what we experienced.
Of course. But the different spiritual love.
Spiritual love. So they brought out, they did the kirtan, the class. I think they read a Krishna story or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then we sat down to eat. Oh, and this is bad for you. I said, you've cooked all the goodness out. Look at it. You've
Overcook.
You've overcooked.
Yeah.
You use salt and sugar and, you guys have got to give this up. So, because you're proud.
Of course.
You're
on the next level.
Yeah, Paul was proud of his penny. and there was like 3 or 4 maybe brahmacharis and one person in white. And I remember saying, oh, he must be really advanced. They go, why? I go, because he's the only one wearing white and all you guys are wearing saffron. So I walked out, not interested whatsoever, had no interest.
But you ate?
I ate the prasad.
Okay.
Of course I ate it.
Of course. You test everything.
You might have a philosophy, but when it becomes prasad, the philosophy goes out the back door.
Can't renounce that.
So I ate them.
That's good.
And then I walked out the door. Never ever thought I'd go. Had no interest whatsoever. And later on, a few months later, someone gave me a book to read. And then I read the book halfway through and I go back to the person, it's really not for me. Come on, mate, I'm a philosopher. I'm going to do the 40-day fast. I don't need...
We are on the next level.
Yeah, I don't need all this stuff.
No, this is for kids.
yeah, this is for kids. And then I met the devotees maybe about, 6 months plus later. And then I thought, geez, I better ask them what they were all about. So I approached them, what's it all about? Happiness. I says, I'm happy. They says, your happiness is temporary because you're stone. We can see you're stone. You have an up and a down, just like this building here today, gone tomorrow. Yeah. What's the use of your so-called happiness? And I thought, geez, that's far out.
That's deep.
I like that, mate. I like that. And then I says, can I come round again? And I went round. And it was on a festival day. So it was like Haridas Decor. There's 3 festivals in it.
Yeah. In the row.
Yeah, and then when I left there, I started chanting 16 rounds and never stopped.
Far out. But would you say that the prashadam you took that day planted the seed inside your heart? Would you say that?
Yeah, that damn prashadam.
Yeah, you see? I knew it. These people, they're poisoning you. They're capturing you and then distributing pakora and ice cream.
Drugs in this prashad. Like all the other devotees, it was the damn halava.
Yeah, the halava.
Forget about the sabji and the curd and the pakoras. Once you have that halava,
you fall in love.
You're finished.
You're finished.
Finished.
You're not the first one. I met many devotees like Satadanya Prabhu.
Yeah.
He joined in New York in 72 or something. And he said that, when I test the halwa, I say, wow, this is the next level.
I know. And even till today, every Sunday, they bring me a cup of halava.
Ooh.
Every
They
Sunday.
just make you remind you and re-establishing your Krishna consciousness, remembering you.
They know
don't go anywhere.
They know I'm going through a tough time. They go, here, Carla.
Wonderful, man.
So that was the beginning.
Wonderful. But then you did a lot of service, for sure. Tell me, how did you first meet Srila Prabhupada? In which place? And you saw
that jumps right up ahead. We went to basically open the temple in Melbourne.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Which year it was?
Was it 74 or
74,
75 or in between that area? And so they just brought that place that they've got now.
Yeah.
So we went all over there to help.
And
Actually,
Prabhupada did the installation of the video. I saw the
Yeah, I was
video
there for
and the
that.
photograph.
In the initiation, you see the yajna.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
a couple of steps
You're
down,
there, you're
sitting
there.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was right next to them there. So that's when I met Srila Prabhupada.
What was your impression of seeing Srila Prabhupada, the Swami from India? You know, small stature but big personality.
It wasn't like, wow. It wasn't like, well, I was like, oh, this is the person I've been reading about.
Okay.
It was more
The
like,
author.
yeah.
He's the person.
This is the person now. He's right here.
Right.
And it wasn't until much more purification I began to appreciate.
Much more bucket of valor.
Yeah, but at the beginning it wasn't like, wow, here's Srila Prabhupada and I really want to surrender. And I was more like, this is the person I'm doing all this for.
It's good.
You know, so it wasn't like...
Yeah, it was not like exceptionally volcano explosion or somebody sees somebody walking on the clouds.
Like a shooting star and the next one blew. So,
different people, they have different emotion.
It was super nice, actually.
Nice.
Because I read the Bhagavad Gita twice before I joined. And, so I met Prabhupada in Melbourne. And, did some far-out service for the Melbourne Temple.
Nice.
Yeah. And actually, when Prabhupada arrived in Melbourne, I was there, and I was the first one with him when we went into the room. And it's got that gorgeous room. The fire was on, and Madhavisa was there. And Prabhupada says, this is all for you, Prabhupada says, all for me. With a big
huge
smile.
Place. It's a huge room. It's beautiful
room.
With a couch and a bed.
So that was the first time. But when I first joined, we just established a temple in Christchurch. I was going to become the first Christchurch devotee to actually move in. So we got this place, we purified it with cow dung, which made me puke. All of a sudden we're out in the bloody jungle getting cow dung, and we're putting it all over the bathrooms and the kitchens, and I'm going, ooh, this is pretty spooky stuff. and then I was going to join Monday, and then Saturday night they came round to my place, and they says, we're going up to Auckland. Would you like to come up? And I says, yeah. And they had this old car. At that particular point, Siddha, Sarup and Tusta, they were the main ones running, because Tusta's the one that invited Srila Prabhupada over. They installed the deities in 72. So I went up to Auckland, and Siddha Sarup had decided to leave ISKCON.
He was going to...
he was in Hawaii.
Yeah, he was in Hawaii.
Yeah, but he
didn't want to be part of...
He didn't want to be part of the institution, still wanted to be part of ISKCON.
Right.
So that happened here, and it became official in 76.
Nice.
It's the time when I got initiated, and it's still Jagannath. And so it was a pretty thriving community.
Yeah.
Those guys were super successful. Had the fantastic, super, successful spirituals guy, Incense Factory. They had a branch down in Christchurch. They had a travelling Sankirtan team. They had, what was it called? The Lotus Restaurant, a fantastic vegetarian restaurant.
Nice.
A lot of huge preaching, a lot of them.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of devotees. So I came up, they had an Easter Ghosty, Tusta had an Easter Ghosty, and they all left.
And they went to Hawaii, right?
No, they stayed here. They were already in Hawaii.
Oh, they were
established in Hawaii. They were established on the Gold Coast, and they were established here in a place called Whangamata, where the beaches are. Because a lot of them were surfing.
And they're still there?
Yeah.
And they're doing nice preaching?
Yeah, they do. You don't know unless you know them, but a lot of home programs and loft. They basically established the loft preaching. They wanted to live outside the temple and preach, plain clothes, and that's what I told. What was it, Redinanda? I says, your Krishna West is so old it's unbelievable. It was established by them.
Yes.
Long
time ago.
Yeah, a long time ago. It's nothing new, and it's always been part of our movement anyhow. So I don't think he liked that, but don't tell him.
No,
I did tell him.
It's funny because in Italy they have a say,
You
the
know?
dress doesn't make the priest.
Yeah.
So it's your heart and your
Yeah.
devotion and your culture,
Yeah.
whatever way you dress. Also,
Yeah.
Prabhupada was not fanatic,
Nah.
Especially in the West.
Yeah.
Because he say, you just wear whatever is practical. If you
Yeah.
go to university, if they see you with a doll, you think you're a
Yeah.
beggar or something. It looks funny. So
Yeah.
Prabhupada was not stereotype.
No,
It
he didn't
was,
mind. He just says, look, you go and do what you want to do.
whatever you want
the
to
way
do,
you want to do it.
however you want to do it.
And if it's better than what we're doing, we'll follow you. But in the meantime, we'll just stick what... They didn't like things like wampus on Harinam. They didn't like the way we're shortchanging book distribution.
Right.
They just didn't like that aspect.
They wanted to have a little more class to it.
Well, basically, they weren't too far outside of... we're all coming from hippies.
Yeah.
So in a sense, sort of created a hippie type of environment. We'd go to the beach, we'd light a big fire, we'd have candles,
Right.
the guitar,
Yeah, guitar.
and then everyone would be sitting, swaying back and forth.
Chanting Hare Krishna.
We're chanting, instead of getting stoned, we were chanting Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
So, and that was appealing, and it's still appealing.
Of course.
So they started that, 40, 50 years ago. But then, maybe Prabhupada was still initiating them,
Yeah.
but then it got to a point where they were having problems with the GBC.
Right.
And then Prabhupada said, well, the GBC is my body.
authority.
If you don't accept the GBC,
Then-
you don't accept me. Then he stopped initiating them. But until that time, he was initiating them outside.
Right.
Yeah.
But let me know, what was the reaction of your father, mother, brother, sister, that when you joined Hare Krishna, they were happy or they were unhappy or they were saying, what's going on?
Oh, they were happy. They I mean,
At least you're not taking dope, you're vegetarian, you seem
well, I was
to be
still
happy.
taking dope. I was still taking dope. Actually, for the first 6 months to a year, I didn't give up taking dope.
Okay.
But I made sure I always chanted my 16 rounds.
Okay.
Actually, at the beginning, I chanted 32 rounds a day.
That's good.
Because I was living in an environment where I weren't sure what the people were thinking.
Right.
So I called them my Moochie rounds. I was still in bed, Hare Krishna. And then I'd get up, have a shower, get clean,
chant again.
and I'd chant another 16.
Nice.
And then people would ring me up at night, like on Saturday, Friday, and they'd go, oh, where are you, James? Because my name's James. And I'm going, oh, I'll be there in 20 minutes. I didn't tell them I still had a couple of rounds to chant. So once I started chanting, till this day, I've always chanted 16 plus rounds a day.
But your father, mother, and brother and sister, they were okay with it?
Oh, really okay. My sister ended up calling her son Narayan.
Nice.
My other brother, who was in also a rock band, once he had Halavar, he wanted me to teach him. So when he came home from the pub at night and got stoned, he would make it. I says, I'll only make it on one condition, that before you eat it, you go Krishna. So I taught him how to make halva.
Nice.
And even today, super favourable.
Wonderful,
Yeah,
wonderful.
super favourable. No
So,
problems there whatsoever.
Tell us a little bit about what's going on here in Christchurch, in Auckland, because there is a lot of, I don't know whether your responsibility is only limited to here or the whole New Zealand. Are you part of the greater New Zealand community?
Part of the national thing.
National Council or something?
Regional secretary.
Okay. You're the man.
Troubleshooter.
Okay.
But I don't have to really travel because each place is pretty much
Together, they're
established.
doing good.
They're all old enough to look after themselves.
Nice.
And
What's going on?
what's going on?
The magic is continuing, and the preaching is going on.
Yeah, the preaching.
I see a lot of Indian people in all of the temple.
Yeah.
Not so much in Australia, some temple in Australia,
Yeah.
but New Zealand as well. I see quite a lot of.
What
about the original Maui people, or original people from New Zealand, or the New Zealand people?
At the beginning, there was no Indian cultivation whatsoever.
No.
And then we went through that Acharya stage where we did the paraphernalia.
Right.
So here we were doing like $2 million a year,
Nice.
just on paraphernalia.
Wow.
So, and the school was just established for the Westerners, and the community only had Westerners. We didn't even think about Indian congregation.
of course.
That all happened after the Acharya
Okay.
left, and then the income went down, and all the devotees that were doing the collection either started collecting it for themselves or giving them to their acharyas.
Right.
So the temple's like this place became a slum, you know,
There was
because
nobody.
the people went, the money went, and then
Everybody's
whoever
gone.
I left here and I was temple president of Wellington for a couple of years, and I was temple president of Christchurch for 11 or 12 years. So I've been in the management 40 plus years, you know.
Tough.
Nectar.
Nectar. I love that.
I love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Nectar. So there was so that and when I was in Christchurch, it was all Westerners, no Indian congregation.
Right.
It was when we weren't here, and the people that were left here, because they wanted to build this temple, then it became, you know, it's not a nice way to say it, but it seemed like the Indian congregation became the paraphernalia. You really didn't want to get them too close, but you wanted their money.
Right.
You know, and so you established these bodies of senior Indian people out there to help you do things and so on and so forth. So that's when it was started.
Okay.
And so when I came back up here 25 years ago, it was basically it was an Indian community.
Right.
Apart from Sachi Sudha and the wife, but there was no Westerners here.
You have a very successful school. How many children are there now in the school? About?
We're just about getting up to 180 plus. And for us, the COVID was a bloody good thing.
Actually, all over the world, I should tell, you know, because kind of people kind of explore their own life.
Yeah.
When you're locked inside your house, you start to think, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Where am I going with this? Okay, I have money, but I can die tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or I have everything, I have a nice house, but a prisoner of my own place. And then they start to kind of explore more spirituality.
Yeah.
So it was a boon for us, I would say, although many people pass away. Although Sandhavati passed away as well.
And then we had that whole anti-vax group. So a lot of students left, mainly the Westerners, because we supported the government, but that's a whole different thing. But since then, with our new management, it's doubled in 2 years.
Nice.
And so we've taken it from 80 students to 180. We're only allowed 150. We've just applied to the Ministry of Education for 350.
So you have to enlarge also the facility and the premises.
See the buildings?
Yeah, I saw you building new building.
So we just got those from the, we just brought those for a really good price from a university. It's just closed.
Good. These are ready-made house.
They're ready-made classrooms.
You just open them and reassemble them here.
We're just waiting for a building.
What are on these stands?
Because we're waiting for the building consent. Without the building consent, you can't put them on the piles. Okay. So that should be coming through every
I was thinking
day.
about the earthquake. That's why I was thinking maybe they're putting it so they don't fall down or something.
No, in Auckland we get volcanoes, mate.
Yeah,
that's not gonna say. Like, boom,
it's gone.
Yeah. So that's there. There's a 2 down there by where you're staying
I saw
too.
down there too. Also new.
Such good prices. They're not even 20 years old.
They're good.
They're 6
They
bedroom
look
units.
new actually.
Yeah. So that's the school. So we're expecting by the end of the year we'll be up to 250.
Nice.
And we'll most probably go to about 300 to 400.
But what about
really fast?
What about the syllable of the school? I mean, you're following the same government things, and plus you're applying some spirituality or what? The spice.
We have to by law.
Of course, you have to follow some.
No, by law we have to add Krishna consciousness.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful.
Yeah, we're an integrated school. We've got a contract with the Queen with her stamp on it, which means actually a percentage of our teaching has to be around the teachings of Bhaktivedanta Swami.
So what type of syllabus you teach?
Well, they teach everything else.
Yeah, of course, ABCD, geography, history, and everything, science. Plus what? Bhagavad Gita or Krishna book or Bhagavatam? I don't know what book you teach.
Mantras, kirtan in the temple.
Nice.
All the major festivals, they have their own Janmastami, Radhastami, Bhaktisiddhanta. They come over, do the whole thing. Abhisheks, Madanga lessons.
And plus, obviously, you explain to them why we're doing this. It's not just rituals. It's not just we just do this as a ritual.
No.
It's like there's an explanation,
Yeah.
a logic understanding of why we worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and with a certain way according to the Vedic.
It's fantastic.
It's beautiful.
So if we don't do that, they can close us down.
So make sure that you keep on doing that.
Yeah. So we're forced to actually have, Krishna consciousness in our school. That's what's called the Hare Krishna school.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
It's super cool, man.
Yeah. And you see the buses, so we travel out to different suburbs and pick up the people.
Nice.
And then later on, when they get this more established, then they'll create satellite. But at the moment, we want to get this together and get it pumping.
Wonderful.
So, super nice.
So what's the future plan you are having in store in your heart for this temple? What is a secret which nobody knows? Tell us.
The secret.
We are listening all over the world. No, the secret means how you can plan to conquer, the New Zealand people or the.
Well, that's why I created Holy.
Oh, okay, Holy. Yeah, that's a big festival in America. They do. I've seen thousands of people that join. Yeah. There is a DJ with a Hare Krishna band.
Yes, for New Zealanders, it's tough to get them in the door. For Kiwis. Okay. Indian, you just put a dome.
Of course, they all come.
Well, that's our temple. These are our deities. This is our philosophy.
Yes.
I am Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I mean, you scratch Prabhupada inside them there is some devotion. It's true.
So, we always rack our brains how to get the Westerners in. So, after looking at Charu's thing, took us 10 years. We were discussing, let's do it, let's not do it. So last year we had like 15,000 people. We do it right here.
That's big. Yeah.
So we do it in the summer. They all park on the lawns. We open the temple. It's mainly just all kirtan, and plus the DJ, the Hare Krishna devotee DJ.
Who is the famous DJ nowadays?
It's not.
There's not one. There are many.
Well, the ones we get are based in Australia. They do all the holies in Australia. So
and the musician?
Well, we have all the devotees have their own bands. It's all devotees.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So, and then we do up to 15 Rath Yatras a year.
That's a
mainly
lot.
in a 3-week period. We do all the Christmas parades. And that was another thing, how to get out there with the people. And it's good because every suburb around here, like you can go, one of them's got the Islanders, and it's got the Maoris, and it's got the, Indians, and it's the Westerners. So every Christmas parade, you're heading.
Boom, distributing prasad, and the people see Jagannath.
Yeah.
So creating a lot of Vagyada security for everybody.
Yeah, so we've started that.
But the New Zealand people, they look like to be peaceful and happy and naturally non-violent. I don't know, maybe the Maori, they're Kshatriya, but I don't see violence around, I don't see...
Well, it's not America. We haven't got the
population. My God, America is scary.
It's like anybody, it doesn't matter if you get someone intoxicated, you get a crazy person.
Of course.
So we don't usually get hassled so much.
No.
Like we used to in the old days, but they're just as happy as anyone else around the world, I suppose. I don't know. I really haven't really given it much thought. So preaching-wise, we'll have the restaurant up the front in that old building. The temple's too small now, so we're going 6 meters out. We're just doing the plans now.
Right.
Paraphernalia, we're going so many meters. Downstairs, we're building a big hall, so we're just finalizing those plans there.
But when you do this holy festival with color, you have a pandal, or it's just open into the grass?
Here. Right here.
But you have a pandal or no?
No,
it's covered? No, it's open because it's nice weather at that time.
Yeah, we just have the stage and...
it's like Woodstock.
We open downstairs. They can come inside. They can come in the temple.
Right.
And the dyes are really good. That they don't stain or anything.
These are all natural dyes. Yeah. And in the end, you give prasada to everybody.
We have prasad.
Nice.
Yeah, we have.
That's
prasad.
Beautiful. That's a nice program.
Yeah. Then we were doing school cooking programs for a while, but now the government's changed all the policies on you can't cook and take and all that sort of stuff and. We do prasadam and Harinams.
But you have a restaurant in the city as well?
We don't have a restaurant.
Do you think we should have a restaurant?
Well, that's mainly David Metamarage's area. They have the loft where they serve prasad and do the loft. So
that's nice.
He takes care of like the Western preaching.
That's good.
That's his forte.
That's good.
And he's really expert at it.
That's fantastic.
And I basically oversee. I don't do much at all. I've just got such a
But
good
somebody's doing it.
Yeah,
Devamrita Maharaj is doing it, and he's successful. So
he's doing
that will be pleasing to Srila
But
Prabhupada.
even pushing on the movement here, it's mainly done by certain
These
devotees
people,
from a
yeah.
council. They're all
Wonderful,
qualified
wonderful.
people.
So
Otherwise-
what are the main hurdle for you, or the main obstacle, if there is any? Is there anything, anytime you want to share, like you went through tough time with something? I don't know.
Obstacle.
No, there is no obstacle in Krishna consciousness. Everything is smooth.
Yeah, no.
No, come on.
I really can't think of it. The only obstacle would be myself.
Oh, you're such a nice guy.
You know,
Okay. I
that's
understand.
it. That's the only obstacle I can see. Just the more I can keep away from the devotees, the faster things develop, and I get involved. I'm just enjoying, this part of my life.
That's beautiful.
I've still got good health. I dress the deities on all the festivals, do Harinam Fridays, and I go to Vrindavan every year, Mayapur apart from the last couple of years,
So you would certify that this Krishna conscious movement can give real happiness to the soul. Can you certify that? Put a stamp on your signature. Anybody who takes seriously Krishna consciousness is bound to be happy and enjoy the spiritual adventure, which is full of fun. Can you say that?
When I go home at night,
Yes,
I thank Prabhupada.
of course.
I thank Prabhupada. Says, thank you very much, Prabhupada, for allowing me once again to do some incredible service for you. And I go, thank you, Sri Sri Radha Giridhari, who is our dear. Nearly every night, I appreciate, and even just the other day, because I had this sickness, Fijian flu, and I was thinking, Krishna, you've looked after me so nicely.
Always.
How the hell can I complain?
Cannot.
I'm 73 this year. Health is
You look
seems
younger,
to be
man.
all right.
What type of pills you take?
I still take LSD. And cocaine.
No, you don't. Come on.
Smoke dope. That's that cup of halibut.
The cup out of there, keep my eye away.
Every Sunday, mate. That I recommend.
Nice.
And I've never. I'm not on any diet. I've never had to at this point in
You're
life.
looking good.
I'm not. So I really can't complain.
No, absolutely.
Wonderful devotees, wonderful kirtans. It's, when you see the hole there and you see the Rath Yatras and you're out on Harinam and people are participating, especially being in New Zealand,
Yes.
because it's the furthest place away.
From anywhere else.
You look at it, we're
Yeah.
like,
You're like in the end of the world,
You go
man.
any further, mate, you're going to fall over the edge.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just, you
yeah.
can see it.
The earth is flat.
You can
I
see
know
it,
you.
mate.
I know you.
So, I really.
But Kalasamvara Prabhu, I want to ask you one question, because now let's go back in time. I remember Tamal Krishna Maharaj was in my house the day before he passed away.
Wow.
He was eating pizza and cake. And I remember telling him, Maharaj, do you want me to arrange a car for you?
Yeah.
We have so many nice cars with nice driver and then on the road. And he said, no, I have this nice driver who drives very fast from Navadip.
Yeah.
And then I said, okay, no problem, Maharaj, whatever you want. He took a little rest, and he went to his conch building. And the next day you were in a car with your wife, who passed away, I believe.
Yeah.
And I was very shocked, and I cried so much.
Yeah.
And tell us a bit about that experience.
Well, that was my wife's birthday.
Oh, my
So
goodness.
we weren't supposed to go that day.
Right.
But she had a desire on her birthday because Tamal was like her Shiksha guru.
Right.
She took initiation off into Dudna Maharaj, but mainly her relationship was with Tamal. Intellectually, they would ring to each other, write to each other. And her desire was to be a secretary. She said, why can't I be a secretary?
Yeah.
So they had a really good relationship.
Yeah,
so
of
she
course.
said to me, we were supposed to go prior. She said, can you arrange that we go together? So I asked Tamal, is it all right? And that we go with you. And he says, yeah, for sure. So that's how we ended up being in the car at that particular time. And so we're in the car, and there's never a dull moment with Tamal.
No.
So I think the first 20 minutes was just getting a safety belt to work. You know what he's like.
Yeah, all right,
is this
this thing
tight enough,
doesn't work,
Carla? Is
isn't
it, is this right? Is that right? And we were just...
He was sitting in the front next to the driver.
He was sitting in the front, and I was sitting behind the driver, and then my wife was beside, and then we were basically just talking. We were talking about how there's a shortcut now, and we were talking about how...
Shantipur shortcut, yeah.
And then we were talking about at Karatek, we're all going to get together and spend a couple of months together at the palace, going into chanting. He says...
Nice.
The good thing about me and my wife is we had the same taste. You know, going to the Dham, chanting, Prashad Association. So he picked that up. Nice. So he says, okay, come over in Karatek. We'll spend a couple of months together and we'll really get deeply into our chanting. Because me and him used to chant on top of the palace at night, overseeing Govardhan. That's how I got my taste for Govardhan.
Beautiful.
And he would discuss how the king would sit there, and Govardhan, of course, when the lights change, you get that whole glistering colour change.
It's a mystical experience.
Yeah, so we would sit there. So we were just talking like that. You were, yeah, let's do this and let's do that. And then the next minute, there was just a blank out.
Boom.
Yeah, because I also hit the roof.
Yeah.
And so that I woke up when the car was upside down in the air. So I went unconscious for a moment, and then I was upside down, and the car slid along and it stopped on the other side. And then I smashed the window to get out. I kicked the window and got out. And it was funny because in my mind I was thinking, oh, we've had an accident. Oh, no big deal. We'll just get another car and go to the airport.
Right.
So it wasn't until I got out, the car was upside down. Tamal was still in the
car.
Yeah, upside down. So, and then by that time the car behind us had stopped. They were there. The disciples were freaking out. The whole thing. Then by the time all the villagers had come, so they were grabbing bags and taking them.
Yeah.
So then I helped Maharaj out, and we put him on the grass, and I helped my wife out, and they brought another car and went to the hospital. And then the doctor says, he says, Tamal left instantly, but he says my wife was in a worse situation because she had 10% maybe brain functioning. So then they took it out of the hospital part and just, on the floor, all the beds were taken up. And then at that particular point, Shivaram Maharaj came and Niranjana came and Jai Pataka, who was a GM, because they wanted to do a full autopsy. Yeah. Because when a guru dies, it's a serious thing.
Always.
So then my wife was still alive, and then I was with Shivaram and Niranjana, and then she died, and I asked them just to chant the Nisringadev prayers, and then we had to organise that minibus to come back. But the villagers wouldn't let us leave because they knew on the minibus was a saintly guru. So they all wanted to come on and have darshan. And I don't know who it was, but they says, I think Maharaj's head was by the window, and they says, tell all the people you can have darshan
from the window.
Of the window, and that's the only way we got out.
Otherwise they wouldn't let you go.
Yeah, and then we arrived at Mayapur. That's about the main gist of what I remember.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Heavy experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
But one thing I noticed, just in the last few months of Tamal Krishna Maharaj's life, he became very super nice. He started to embrace people. He started to speak to them nicely. And I was wondering, well, he's a tough guy. He's always, getting your kids if you didn't put the spoon properly or something. Yeah. But certainly he was behaving different. And of course, I knew from day one. So I don't know, it's...
Was that after the operation?
Not sure. Which operation?
He had a whole operation.
No, I don't know. Maybe it was after that.
Because he told me, he said, I was on the table and they pull out your whole stomach and they're doing a whole thing. He said, and then he looked to someone else that was on the bed and he goes, geez, there's not much difference between me and him when you're looking just at the body.
Yeah, just the body.
But after that, because I remember when he came here, he was like a whole different person.
Yeah.
He had never, ever, ever, and I knew him right back to the beginning when he was going to become the Acharya. You know that story?
Yeah, of course.
They poured the hot dal over him, and
No, I don't know about that.
and then the deities fight, and someone picked up the deities, and they're going to smash the deities in Sydney. Yeah, he came over to be the acharya, and I was serving him. I was taking him upstairs to actually shave him up, and the cook came down and spilled a whole pot of dal down the wall, and it went right down him.
Well, why?
It slipped off the...
Oh, it slipped off.
And then when he was in Sydney giving a class, someone jumped on the altar and picked up the small deities and were going to smash the big deities. So when he got back to Mayapur, he went up to Bhavananda, he says, I don't think this is the right zone for me. I keep Fiji, but I'm not going to keep here. But I remember telling him once, I was at Govardhan, and you know how he's so full on. I said, look, Maharaj, you shouldn't act like this to your Western disciples. He goes, what do you mean? I go, you know, it seems like your Indian disciples can handle the heaviness of the whole rasa,
but
not your Western. He goes, no one's ever had the guts to tell me. He says, thank you very much.
That's nice. That was nice.
He says, so, and he never, ever, and all that time, I remember making his first Vyasa when he came to Auckland and serving him, and never, ever spoke harshly, got on my case. It was completely the opposite.
Yeah, must have been
never.
something,
So always had
I didn't know that he had operation or anything, but I found that he was super nice and
he
super
did.
Sweet.
Prostrate, I think.
And very personal. And I was very surprised because, you know, usually we go to him when we have some problem and he say, okay, I'll take care of this. Let's go and fight, whatever. He's the person who will step into the GBC and tell everybody, this is nonsense, this is not what Prabhupada wants, and you guys are in Maya.
Well, you got to remember too, I mean, he hadn't been to the GBC meetings for 10 years.
Of course.
That before he left his body was the time, but the difference was unbelievable. You know, the difference, the decisions he was making and the organisational skills was incredible. It's like Bear Krishna Maharaj says once, if Tamal was here, a lot of these problems wouldn't exist.
Yeah, of course.
Of course, you'd have the other problems that Tamal created, but...
Of course, that's a separate issue. But he was a natural leader. There are few natural people who were born leader, you know? Yeah. Like him and Bhagawan and so many other people. Yeah. I mean, few people in our movement that were like... Powerful. They could powerfully re-establish, balance and stuff, and when people went off the road, they bring them back and they spoke to them.
And he was really good with people.
He was very good.
Even as me, as a manager, he told me who's going to support me, who's not, who to watch out for,
he knew,
who not to watch out for.
He can see things.
He said, this GBC man will never support you, and which he never did until now that he's not a GBC or a guru. Now we're mates. It's funny how things change, isn't it? As soon as the titles go and the whole thing, and it's so far out. But yeah, I mean, so I think if you can, most devotees, if they can, take up some service, take up some responsibility, because it's a really far out learning curve,
Yes.
How to deal with people, how to not to deal with people. You create friends and you create enemies.
That's always there.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't. You could say some people like me, some people love me, some people hate me.
That's part of life, in the ordinary.
And then people say, well, what keeps you going? And I say people like Arjuna, Queen Kunti, Draupadi. I'm going, Arjuna's in the battlefield with his friend Krishna. His son Abhimanyu is being murdered by these great... Did he bloop?
No.
Did all of a sudden Arjuna stop the chariot and go, okay, Krishna,
give up.
I'm out of here, mate. You
Go and fight yourself.
Do your own bloody work. Draupadi, Queen Kunti, these calamities. I mean, Prabhupada says we shouldn't pray for calamities. He says, geez, the morning program's a calamity for us without desiring, just getting up and following the principles and chanting's our calamity. We don't have to ask for anything else.
Yeah, already they come by themselves.
I think devotees should have heroes within our movement.
Of course.
They should have heroes within our Shastra. And when things are going tough, you just that's your form of meditation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In the other end, I think whatever topic goes for now is a piece of cake. Look at what really all this personality, Haridas Thakur,
Yeah,
or
that's
even
what
Jesus
I mean.
Christ.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I mean, come
we're
on, you
small
know.
time.
If
Someone,
they, if they treat us like that, we would be gone a long time ago. You know,
that's why they go.
but
what
we
do you
have nothing in
Nothing.
comparison. You know,
Yeah.
it's really flowing nicely, and like you say, very static experience all the time.
Yeah.
So let me ask a few questions before we can talk to you, Kalasamvara, for many hours, but our time is going short. So what, if you would have been going back 50 years in your life, what would you change?
With the money, would have brought real estate. I would have brought all the money we had. We basically gave away that 10-year period. I mean, it's like the farm. The farm here is worth $100 million if I sold it tomorrow. But you can't mortgage it. You can't do anything.
No.
So I would do what Prabhupada actually wanted, buy real estate like he did in.
Yeah.
He did that in LA. A perfect example.
Yes.
You know, MBT to support the deity. So if I had money. It's so funny, you know, it's like, if you have money, print books. Well, if I had money, I'd buy real estate.
Of course.
Like tons of, like the Catholics did, like all the churches did, and create bases which had financial support for its members.
Yes.
So if you have these assets, which are bringing in money, then you can support people nicely. You know?
Wonderful.
So I that was... if I went back, I'd immediately do that.
Wonderful.
Immediately.
And what is your favorite sloka from any scripture that you keep it deep in your heart?
Well, yeah,
if there is any particular one.
I'm not really a shastric person. I don't like to give class. I don't like to talk.
You're a talker, man. You can give class. But is there any particular, apart from the Maha Mantra, is there any particular
I learned
things
two mantras that got me through 6 months of my life. You know, Matraspastaste Kuntiya and Brahmana Bhuvana Loka. You know, from the top planet to the lowest.
Down to low, it's all places of misery where the birth and death takes place.
So those two two slokas got me through the first 6 years of my devotional life.
Pretty good, I should say.
But no, I don't, you know, I have a prayer that I learnt when I was on Braj Mandala. It's like, you know, as the sun arises in the east, the jewel of the twice born arises, or Lord Gauranga arises, taking his devotees through the country, the towns and the villages, plays the mridangas and the cymbals chime in time. Lord Gauranga shimmering bodily features dance and his footbells jingle. All the devotees chant the name Mukunda, Madhava, Yadava and Hari. Their mouths being filled with the vibration. He would announce to the still sleeping people, you spend your nights uselessly sleeping, your days decorating your bodies.
It's a film. I can see it. I can see it.
So I was doing Braj Mandala, and then the sun would come up, and I
you start to visualize.
I need to say, and then after that, then after that, you learn the other one. You know, that's where I get the word nectar from. People say, you're always saying nectar. And I says, because Bhaktivinoda knows we've got to drink the nectar of the holy name.
Always.
And then Lord Chaitanya says, I've descended just to save you, other than myself, who is your friend. But what about this? I brought the medicine will wipe out the disease of illusion. That is the disease. You know, you go to the doctor.
Yeah.
Oh, knee ache. No, I'm an illusion, mate. You know, doctor has to open the keto. So verses like that I say continuously in my mind.
Wonderful.
I love them.
Now, I want you to give a parting message for our audience of Radio Mayapur. Give them something that you feel they should know from you or from your heart. A parting message.
Well, I think it's the holy name.
Okay.
I mean, I basically tell people don't change anything, just add. Krishna. You can add the name Krishna, then everything else will
fall apart, fall in line.
And follow in line.
Nice.
And in doing that, that word Krishna and that relationship will bring the satisfaction that you're looking for. It'll it fulfills a need. So I just encourage everyone to do like Haridas prayed, may I have 10,000 ears and 10,000 tongues so I can continually chant this mantra. So I base my whole life on the holy name.
Beautiful.
And
That's
when I
amazing.
see people, I tell them, I don't care what you do, add Krishna, and then let Krishna work for you. And there's no force. When love, there's no force. I'm not coming to you with a gun. I'm saying
No.
this will take care of all your needs. So, and serve the mission. It's such a far-out mission, Lord Chaitanya, especially Mayapur, come on. You know, Lalita, Vishaka, Champakalata, Indraleka, Sri Chitra, Sri Tungyavit, what is it?
Vichitraviri,
You know,
Tungavidya.
you've got the Astashakis there, you know, you've got the Panchatattva there. Hey, you've got the damn Ganga.
Yeah.
It's Charanamrita. It's coming from the top of
flowing,
Vishnu.
the
Come
flowing
on,
Ganga.
through celestial planes on the
Yeah.
head of Lord Shiva, and then you get to bathe. Come on. Every day I would bathe in the
Ecstasy,
Ganga.
ecstasy.
So if you're in Mayapur, you've done something super, super incredible. Well, I shouldn't even say that. We're in Mayapur because of the grass hut.
Of course.
And the
Prabhupada.
person who sat in there and did what? Chanted Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram
and he
Ram.
sat in Thompson Square doing the same thing. And the policeman, and the policeman said, you're not supposed to be here. Prabhupada didn't get, well, I'm the founder of Charya here, mate. I'm Bhaktivedanta Swami. You know,
Have some respect.
Sits on the grass, Hare Krishna, Krishna, just the same thing. And from that, our whole movement.
Let's start. You are a beautiful person, Kalasamvara Prabhu. I really enjoy being with you. And please come to visit Mayapur and inspire everybody to take up this chanting. Thank you so much once again.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very
Srila
much.
Prabhupada ki
Jai.
jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki
Jai.
jai. Hari Hari Bol.
Gaur Premananda.
Hari Hari Bol. Thank you. Wonderful.
There you go.
You're listening to Radio Mayapur with the best devotional, meditation, kirtan music, and inspirational podcast. This is Radio Mayapur.